Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? I think all of you are safe at home. Did you try the program which we discussed last day? Method overriding and overloading. Sanjay, did you try the program? Did you practice the program which is Sanjay, are you there?
Yes.
Did you try the program for method overloading and overriding?
Yes, miss, I tried. Only method of overriding, I think.
Method overloading is given at the end of fourth lesson. Add method.
Yes, miss, so the program only one I did.
The other one also you should do.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So your first term exam starts, I think, this month end. You will get information about it from your class teacher later on. So I am planning to include the lessons for first term exam as lesson 1, 2, that Boolean algebra, propositional logic, and computer hardware. According to the reduced syllabus you have from the computer hardware, you don't have to study adders onwards. Adders onwards, it's not there in the reduced syllabus. Adders, encoders, decoders, multiplexers. These topics are removed. Not only that, linked list. There is a topic called linked list from data structure. That's also removed. And one more lesson, big O notation. Computational complexity and big O notation. That's also not there according to the reduced syllabus. So I thought of including lesson 1, Boolean algebra, unit 1 and unit 2. Computer hardware till adders, universal gates and XOR, all the fundamental gates and universal gates, and how to replace a circuit diagram which is drawn with the help of fundamental gates by NAND or NOR gates only. Okay. And fourth lesson, objects and classes. And then we'll move on to data. When we come to data structures, stack. The topic stack will be included for exam. And 2 problems we have done with the stack. Some more programs we have to go through from the previous year's question bank. And I'll try to give you, and from data structures, conversion of infix expression to prefix or postfix. That topic is also included. And then I would like to complete the lesson inheritance, interfaces and polymorphism. From this we will take only the inheritance part. Interfaces and abstract classes, after the examination we will deal with it. Okay. You got an idea about abstract class and interface, but most of the programs, programming problems which were asked for board exam was from simple inheritance, extending a class, how to make a subclass, how to make a class as the subclass of another class. Okay. So most of the programs given at the end of the lesson also is of that type. So today we will learn how to define a class and how to inherit the properties of that particular class in a child class. Okay. So here we need the definition of 2 classes, parent class and child class. How to define a parent class and how you can access the characteristics of a parent class in a child class. How you can make a child class. Okay. So we will start with the most of the topics of this particular lesson we have already discussed. Some programs also we have discussed. Lesson 12, inheritance. So I thought of completing that lesson before your exam. Means not interfaces and abstract classes, all the programs related to inheritance alone, single inheritance alone. Okay. That means 2 classes, a specification of 2 classes will be given you may be asked to write both classes with all the given specification, or you may be asked to write the subclass assuming that the superclass is already defined. Okay, so we will see how to do it. So please take page number 497. I want you to open your textbook also. It's impossible to write all the programs on the board. It's time consuming. So our portions will not be moving if I start writing the programs and explain. I don't think that way of explanation is not needed in +2. If something is very difficult, okay, in that case I will write the program on the board and will explain. Otherwise we will go through the programs given in the textbook. Very simple programs, okay. If you don't understand anything, you have to ask me. I'm just going through the topic. We have already discussed what is inheritance, and then visibility modes also we will be discussing. Private members of a class, how to access base class members, how to access private members and public members, and then protected members of a class, some facts about inheritance, types of inheritance, some examples are given, method overriding and invoking overridden method, superclass constructor. These topics today we will discuss. Okay. Now please look at your textbook. Inheritance, as you know that inheritance is the process by which a class gets the properties of another class. So there will be two classes, a base class and a subclass or child class. There are two classes in inheritance. Base class, one class, say a class called A. Class A has its own characteristics and behaviors defined in it. Class B wants to take some of the characteristics from this particular class. So class B can be made as a subclass of A. Class B can be made as a subclass of A. Class B. So in class B, in class A, some common characteristics and methods are defined. When you write class B, you found that some of the characteristics of class A is common to the objects of class B also. So you need not redefine it in class B again, as already these characteristics and behaviors are specified in class A. They are common. Some of the characteristics are, all the characteristics specified in class A is common to all the objects of class B. Apart from that, apart from some characteristics which class B has its own. Okay. So if you want to take all the characteristics and behaviors of class A, you can make class B as its subclass. You need not rewrite it again. So to make a class as the subclass of another class, the keyword extends is used. Extends. We have seen it in the previous class. Extends. So when you define class B at the first line itself, when you start defining class B, you have to use the keyword extends. So the definition should be like this: public class B extends A. This keyword, extends keyword, makes the class B as a subclass of A. So class B is a subclass of A. So after defining class A, compile it and keep. And then after defining class B, when you compile, you will be able to see an arrow mark. Class B, this is class B. And class A. One icon will be, an arrow mark, a pointer will be pointing to class A. That means B is a subclass of, B is derived from A. Okay. On the project window itself, you will be able to see a connecting line when you make a class as a subclass of another class. So this class is known as parent class, superclass, base class, parent class, superclass or base class. And this class, the class which inherits the properties of a parent is known as child class, subclass, or derived class. Derived class. Child class, subclass, or derived class. So the class which gets the properties of a parent is known as child class, subclass, or derived class. The class from which the properties are inherited is known as parent class, superclass, or base class. So base class and subclass, parent class and child class, superclass or derived class, and this class is also called as target also, target class. Target, this term I have seen for the first time in your textbook. Okay, target, they used the word target also to specify subclass. Okay, and how we can access, okay, we have seen that we want to take some characteristics of class A in B without redefining it in B. So what is the accessibility of the variables and methods declared in A? In A, some variables and methods are declared. Those variables and methods, whether we can directly access in B or not. Okay, what is the accessibility of the variables declared in A in its subclass? So accessibility, there are three keywords which provides different levels of accessibility in Java, isn't it? Teres, can you tell me what are the access specifiers? Teres? What are the access specifiers? Private, protected and public. Okay. So in 10th standard we have studied a lesson, isn't it? 10th standard, Sumita Arora's textbook, I think towards the last lesson, 11th lesson. Do you remember? Eileen? Eileen is not there. So last class also he told that he was unable to see the whole session. So what happened to Eileen? Did he come to know about this class? Maybe in the group, the message was given in the group. All others are there. Okay. 5 only. Only total 6. Okay. So public class A. Public class A. A has some private data members, private R number, private name. Some variables are there in A. In class A, imagine that in class A, there are some private data members. To provide high security for data, we can make some instance variables or methods as private. But you cannot make any class as private. When you define a class, as we are using public class A, here you cannot give the keyword private. So while compiling, you will get a warning message that you cannot use the private keyword while defining a class. Then there won't be any usage of defining a private class. What is the usage? When you create a class, others should be able to make use of that class, isn't it? So you cannot define a class as private, but its characteristics and methods can be defined as private. Instance variables, the variables which are the characteristics of the class, or the variables which are declared at the beginning of the class is known as instance variables, and the methods also can be made as private to limit the accessibility by other classes. Okay. So what is the accessibility of these private data members? So public class A, private R number, roll number is private, private name. I don't want others to make changes in the R number and name directly. Okay, so I set it as private. So can I use these variables directly here? No. These private variables I cannot refer say R number equal to 1, name equal to I cannot refer the private variables of the superclass or parent class directly in the subclass. Okay, directly in the subclass. What is the scope of this private variable? This variable can be referred only within this body, within the body of class A. Its accessibility is limited to the body of class A. Private variables can be referred only within the class in which they are declared. If you want to provide accessibility to this private variable, you can write a getter method and setter method. Okay, if you want to provide values to these variables, you can define a public method. If there is a private method, private input, a private input method is there where R number equal to 1, name equal to XYZ. Okay. A private method is there, input method, which assigns the values to roll number and name. Okay. So this private method you will not be able to call from outside. Imagine that you have only one method. One class A. Class A has two private variables and you have a private method to set the values for these variables. So you compiled the class. You created an object. When you create an object, you will not object name dot method name. Private void. Okay, say I forgot to write void. Private access specifier return data type method name. Private void input. Private void input. In the input method, you assigned the values to these private variables. Okay. So, but when you compile this class and create the object of this class, this method name will not be displayed. You will not be able to call this method. Outside of this class, object dot method name or object dot variable name reference is not possible. Suppose you created an object of this class somewhere else. Say A type obj equal to new A. Okay. A type obj equal to new A. You created an object in some other class through code. Now A dot R number equal to 5. Obj dot object is obj dot R number equal to 5 or obj dot name equal to something. Okay, so you will not be able to refer R number variable and name variable by specifying object name dot variable name because they are not accessible, they are private. Okay, object dot variable name is not possible in case of private variables. Outside of this class, in some other class, if you try to create an object of the class A by using the keyword class name space object name equal to new constructor. So an object of this particular class is created, but its methods and variables are private. So you will not be able to refer to those variables and methods by object dot variable name or object dot method name syntax. Okay. So what to do? In order to provide accessibility to these variables and this method, you have to write a public method. So if you want to provide accessibility to these variables, private variables, you can write a public method. I am going to write a public method. Public void void data input or accept. In this, I am going to call this input method. Input. I called the input method to set the value for R number and name. Okay. So I have written a public method in the class. If I want to provide accessibility to these variables and this private method, I have to write a public method. Okay, public method. So in this public method, what I have done indirectly, through this public method, I am providing accessibility to the private method and the variable indirectly. In the public method, what I did, I called the private method. What is the private method? Input method. When I called input method, roll number is assigned as 1, name is assigned as XYZ. So this method is, input method is defined in class A. Data input is also defined in class A. So a private method can be called anywhere in the same class, and private data members also can be used anywhere in the same class. Okay. But when you try to use private data members and methods outside of this class, it is not accessible by creating object. So for that, what you have to do is, to provide accessibility to the private data members or methods, you have to define a public method. Public method, one public method is defined here. So through this public method, indirectly we are providing accessibility, that means controlled accessibility. So in this case, outside of this class, in some other class when you define, you can create an object by a type obj 1 equal to new constructor of the class, default constructor. If you don't write the constructor, Java will provide a default constructor. So here obj1 dot the public method. What is the public method? Data input. Data input. Data input. Only this method you can call invoke from outside. This method cannot be invoked from outside. Understood? So that is the scope of private methods and variables. They are not accessible directly outside the class. If you want to provide accessibility to the private methods and variables, you have to write a public method in the class. Otherwise, there is no use of defining a class like this. If you don't provide accessibility through a public method, there is no use of defining a class like this. So write a public method, and through that public method, user will be able to call only this data input method. He will not be able to make any changes in the input method, or will not be able to directly assign value to R number or name through the assignment statement. So controlled accessibility is provided. Okay. So let me come to setter method and getter method. As two variables are private, to provide accessibility to it, we can write getter method and setter method. Usually in 10th standard we have studied, for each variable one getter method to store the to set the value to a private variable, there will be one getter method. To return or to take or to access a value from a private variable, there will be a setter method. So there are two member variables, private members. To set the value for these two variables, we can write two setter methods. Setter methods will be public void set R number. Set R number. By looking at this itself, we can understand that this is to set the value for R number, and you can pass an argument, say int x and R number equal to x. To take the value, to return the value from this variable R number, object name dot variable name is not possible. So we will write a public method which returns the value of R number. So we can write a public method, getter method. So public return data type of the variable, private int, sorry, here keyword is missing, private int R number, here private string name. What kind of data has to be taken out? What kind of data is returned? Public return data type int int get r number. Get r number. One getter method is written and return r number. Return the value stored in the variable r number. R number. Like this, for this variable also to set the value, there will be a setter method, and to take the value from that, a getter method also will be written. So setter methods and getter methods are used to set the value for private variables. Now, when you create an object of this class, object is created, obj1 is created to set the value. To set the value for r number, obj1 dot set r number and pass an r number, roll number to it. Pass a roll number to it. So that value will be given to x and the value of x will be assigned to the private variable. To take out the value, obj1 dot get r number. System.out.println obj1 dot get r number. So obj1 dot get r number will give you the value. In this place you will get the value of r number, that is the value 1 will be given back to you. So to provide accessibility to private members, private instance variables of a class, getter method is written to take out the value, setter methods are written to set the value. Usually the method name starts with a set and variable name followed by variable name to set the value. To take out the value, get variable name. Okay, these are the getter and setter methods. So visibility of private variables are limited to the class. In order to provide accessibility to these private variables, we have to write some public methods. Otherwise, there will not be any use of defining such a class. So through public methods, we limit the accessibility of the end user to these variables. Accidentally, they will not be able to do anything. Whatever activity is specified in the set method only will be executed. User will not be able to write his own statement to change the value of r number and name. When he can only do that, what he can do? He can just call this method and pass a value to it. How to set the value and all will be done internally by this particular method. No direct accessibility, through public methods only accessibility is provided. That's about private variables. Now, public variables are accessible anywhere. Object name dot variable name or object name dot method name. You can use that syntax for referring public variables and public methods of a class in any subclasses. What about protected accessibility? Public variables and methods are accessible throughout the package or in other packages also. There is no limitation to the accessibility. Private is accessible only within the class in which it is defined. Default is package accessibility. If you don't specify anything, that is default accessibility. It is package accessibility. What does it mean? Inside one package, you may define a number of classes. In all those classes, the default variables are accessible. Outside this package, it is not accessible. So default accessibility is package. If you don't give the keyword, it is default. And what about protected? Protected accessibility. This is a package P1, another package P2, there is a third package P3. Here there is a class called A. Here there are many classes B, C, D and all. A package is like a folder. Here also there are many classes X, Y, Z and all. Here there is a private variable, say X. Thus X is accessible only within it. It is not accessible in X, Y, Z. It is not accessible in B. It is not accessible any of the classes declared in P3. Okay, there are 3 packages. A variable, private variable which is declared in A will be accessible only within it. It's not accessible here, not accessible in any of the packages. Whereas a public variable, say Q is declared here, public variable is accessible here in all the classes, in all the packages. But if you avoid the access specifier, this part you have avoided. Simply int r number is given, int r number, only this int r number, default accessibility. So this r number can be referred only within this package. In all other classes, in this package, in this class you can create an object of A and object name dot r number is possible. In this class also you will be able to create an object of A, object name dot r number is possible. Outside of that package it is not accessible. But when you declare this variable as protected, r number is protected. So this protected r number is accessible in this package and all the subclasses in the other packages. Imagine that B is a subclass of A. So only B will be able to access R number. C, D and other classes in the other package will not be able to access. Only subclass of this particular class will be able to access that variable. Protected accessibility means if you have a protected variable here, that variable will be accessible in all the classes in this package and subclasses in the other packages. Already we have discussed it in 10th standard. Okay. So let me go to the textbook. Let us go through the textbook. Inheritance, page number 497. I am going through it quickly because a number of times we have discussed it. Term inheritance has been derived from, it's a biological term. Literal meaning is transfer of genetic characteristics from one generation to another generation. A child acquires some characteristics from its parents and in turn his children may acquire the same from him. Java language also supports inheritance to handle interrelated classes to meet certain requirements. A and B may be related, only related classes. Then only there will be usage. Okay, so interrelated classes to take the characteristics defined in a particular class in some other classes, if they are related in some or the other way, we can use the property of inheritance in Java. While programming, it may happen that objects of one class need to access some features and properties of from the objects of another class. In such case, inheritance is useful. A class that gets inherited to another class is known as base class, parent class or superclass, whereas the class inherits the properties is known as derived class, child class or subclass or target. See, one example is given here, class A. Class A has instance variables declared at the beginning which are common to all the member methods, and these variables are the special characteristics of this particular class which makes this class a unique one, which will help us to identify that an object of that class. So instance variables and member methods are the methods defined in the class. Class A is inherited to class B. Class B is an extension of A. So all those variables and member methods, if they are not private, directly you will be able to refer in B. Public class B. Class B extends A. Public void accept maybe through scanner class. By using scanner class object you accepted the value for roll number and name. So R number equal to which R number? This R number. This R number equal to sc dot nextInt. You can display message sc dot nextInt. This name equal to sc dot next. How you, when you will be able to access like this, provided they are not private. They are not private. If they are public, protected or default. Int R number, string name, their accessibility is default. So you will be able to act. If this class is in the same package, you will be able to refer like this. Same package and subclasses in the other package also. Default accessibility, you did not give any keyword here. So its accessibility is package accessibility. So if B is in the same package, you will be able to refer like this, R number equal to nextInt name equal to. Otherwise, if it is protected, all the classes in the same package and subclasses in the other package also, you will be able to access like this directly. Variable name equal to, this variable name equal to, while printing also or for doing some calculation also, directly you can access the variables. And this method also, these are public methods. If you want, you can call the public method set R number or get R number directly. Get R number directly, you will be able to refer these methods also in the derived class. Okay. In the derived class, default, protected or public methods, you will be able to refer directly. Methods and variables, you will be able to refer directly by specifying simply the variable name and method name. No need to create any object, as B is a subclass of A. If you don't use the keyword extends here, to make use of these variables, what you have to do? Create an object of A here. A type, obj1 equal to new A, and then obj1 dot R number, obj1 dot name, okay, obj1 dot set R number, obj1 dot get R number. So you have to create an object. Okay, that's it creates inconvenience always whenever you want to create object. So what you can do? To refer directly to the variables and methods, you make it as a subclass. So you get the properties. Okay. That's what. Tom, did you understand? Tom. Why do you, what is the need of inheritance? If you don't use the keyword extends here, to make use of these variables, what you have to do? You have to create an object of the class, isn't it? You will not be able to refer directly like this. Instead, in this class, create an object of the class by calling the constructor and object name dot obj1 dot R number equal to sc dot nextInt. Okay. If you have simply defined the class B, if there is no connection between class B and class A, you did not establish any connection. That's a separate class, this is a separate class. To use the characteristics of this class in another class, which is a different one, create an object and through the object you access the variables. That will be inconvenient always if you have to follow the same methodology. If there is a connection between A and B, that means somehow they are related. So these common characteristics are already included in B also. In such case, to avoid the object creation, what you have to do is, B you should make it as a subclass, extends A. Okay. So no need to create the object. Object name dot R number is not needed. Directly R number equal to, you can assign the value. Okay. Understood? Understood? Okay. So that's the need of inheritance. So let me go through. Need of inheritance. The base class simply defines some common functionality to be used by other classes. Once a base class is compiled and machine code is generated, You don't need to recompile it again at the time of accessing it into derived class. First you create the common class, parent class, compile it and keep ready. And any number of classes you can, any number of children can be created from this A. So whenever you create a child class, you need not go to A again and compile it. Once if you compile and keep it ready for use, you need not turn to that class at all. You write your own class, make it as a subclass of that class, compile this class and directly use the characteristics and behaviors. Okay. So that's what it is given. This is the feature. This feature is termed as reusability. Once you have written, we are using it again and again in many other classes. Public class C extends A, public class B extends A, public class F extends A. Any number of subclasses can be created from this class. Okay. So that is the advantage of the property of inheritance. So reusability is provided here. Once if a code is written any number of times, it can be used without rewriting or modifying it. Suppose here some changes are made. In this base class some changes are made. So that will be reflected in all its child classes. Whichever classes are made as the subclass of A, the changes made in A will be reflected in all those classes. Okay. So if you have to make any changes in some of the common characteristics, that change has to be made here only, not in all the subclasses. Automatically that will be reflected in all the subclasses. Example 1 picturization is given. Base class A, from class A, class B is derived, class C is derived. You can derive class D or class E. Any number of classes can be derived. Reusability feature of inheritance provides the following benefits. It allows the user to model real world relationship. From one parent, any number of children can inherit the properties. If any changes is made in the base class, if any change is made here, that will be reflected throughout the subclasses. If any change is made in the base class, it is carried to all its derived classes. For example, let X, Y and Z are the three subclasses of, let X, Y and Z are three classes such that Y and Z inherits from class X. So X is the superclass or base class. From X, Y and Z are derived. So if any change is made in X, that will be reflected in Y and Z also. You need not go to Y and make the change, or you need not go to Z and make the change. Make the change only in the parent class. Okay. Inheritance shows transit nature. Transit nature means public class A is a subclass of, A is the superclass, B is a subclass of A, and you can make another, a third class as the subclass of B also. Now we have a class B, apart from that we have a class B, apart from that a third class, public class, class C extends B. C is an extension of B. C is an extension of B. B is a subclass of A. A is the parent class. From A, B is derived. From B, C is derived. So in C also you will be able to refer R number directly, name directly. Okay. You will be through B you are getting, through B in C we are getting the characteristics of A. Indirectly we are getting the characteristics of A in C. Multi-level inheritance. This is known as multi-level inheritance. We can see that our grandparents' characteristics may be inherited to a grandson, isn't it? You may be having, Tom may be having the characteristics of your grandfather or great-grandfather, isn't it? So, it is like that. B is a subclass of A and C is a subclass of B. So, in C, we can directly refer, we get the qualities of A through B. Okay, indirectly C gets the properties of A through B. Channel is B. Okay, in C directly you can refer to all these variables of A as well as characteristics and methods of B also. So in C it has its own characteristics. Apart from that, it can refer to the characteristics of B as well as the characteristics of A also. So, two classes characteristics are available here in C. So, transit nature means through one, it means if son derives from father and father derives from grandfather, and then son will implicitly gain the capacity of using features from grandfather. Okay, a grandson gets the properties of a grandfather. Java provides the visibility. Next topic says that suppose this class is a public class. Okay, you cannot define or class C extends, public class C extends B. Here C is a we are going to write a subclass of A, public class B extends A. So B is a subclass of A. This is a public class. This is also a public class. This class, its accessibility, if you want, you can make it as a protected. You cannot set the subclass as private or protected. It is mentioned in the textbook that here the accessibility of the child class should be always public. Accessibility of the child class should be always public. Because what is the accessibility of this class? It is already public. Java will not allow you to change the accessibility of the parent class by making a subclass as private or protected. Private is not possible. Here private keyword is not possible. Here protected keyword is also not possible. Protected keyword is also not possible. This is not possible. If a class is public, you cannot make its subclass as private or protected and limit the accessibility of the variables defined in this class. When you make this class as protected, indirectly you are limiting the accessibility of this public class. When you make this class as private is not possible at all. While compiling itself, it will show you an error message. You are limiting the accessibility of a public class. That Java will not allow you. Okay, that's what that picturization. Class A. Class A is the superclass. Class B is private. It's not allowed. B is a subclass. Protected class B extends. Next example is protected class B extends A. B is made as protected. That's also not allowed in Java. Public class B extends A. That's okay. The accessibility of a superclass cannot be limited by or controlled by a subclass. Whatever accessibility is provided in the superclass, that should not be limited or reduced by subclasses. That is not allowed. So subclasses should be always public. Okay. That's what explanation is given. Now getter and setter methods we have already discussed. Go through the topic. Okay. Now accessing base class members. How do we access the base class members? You would be aware of the fact, spelling mistake is there. You would be aware of the fast. Okay. When you read, you may be confused. Accessing base class members. Did you see that spelling mistake? Teres, did you see where I am reading? There is. Eileen joined. Eileen, what happened at the beginning? Eh? Pardon? It was not connected. So today also you need that video. Okay. So we will give you the link. Okay. Rashmi means will send you. Okay. So accessing base class members. I forgot to ask you. Did you understand previous class after going through the video?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a continuation of that. Today's class is a continuation of that. So we moved to 12th lesson.
Okay.
Are you able to follow now what I am discussing?
So I cannot hear what you are saying. Okay, okay, go.
Okay, so we will give you that video. We will send you video. Need not quit now. Be there in line. Okay.
So I cannot hear what you are saying. Okay, okay, go.
It's not clear to him. Headphone. Okay, don't worry. We will send the video's link. Okay. Yes, Sanjay. What's your problem? You also have some audio problem. Okay, that was a problem from our end. Unfortunately, it has fallen down from my dress. Okay. So, are you able to hear now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Shall I go through the topic? Accessing base class members. Do you want me to repeat whatever I explained earlier?
No, it was clear. Only from the part and take you were talking with
Okay. So, just now only maybe that wires might have entangled somewhere. Okay. So, accessing base class members. Eileen, page number 499.
I do.
Okay. You would be aware of the fact, it's not fast, that a class members, instance variables and member methods can be declared under different access specifiers. We were talking about private, public and protected. A class member without any specifier will be default accessibility. But they are telling that it is public, actually it is default accessibility. It would be interesting to know how the members of base class used with the different specifiers are made accessible to the derived class. Here next topic is how to access the private members. I have told you that these private members, if the variable is declared as private, directly you will not be able to use here. You have to set a setter method to provide accessibility. Setter method and getter method. Okay. That's what they are telling. A class member declared private can never be used outside the class. Class visibility, even if the class has been inherited to another class. Hence, private members of base class are not directly accessible in the derived class. Okay. In order to provide the accessibility, we use getter methods and setter methods in the base class. What's a getter method? It's a member method that is used to return the value of a private member of the base class in the derived class. If you want to take the value of a private member in a derived class, you have to write a getter method in the parent class or base class. In the base class, if there is a getter method, then only you will be able to, here there is a setter method and getter method return. As R number is private. R number is private. R number is private. So, to set the value for this R number, I have defined a setter method which starts with the keyword set, not keyword, set. Usually setter method starts with a set and the variable followed by variable name, and the value will be passed to set to the private variable. And to take the value of this private variable, public int, a public method is written. It returns integer value, get R number. So return R number, take the value of R number and give it to the subclass where it is called. Okay. Example is given there. Class ABC. Class ABC, private int A private variable A is declared, void set A. Look at set A, set variable name, set A, and a value is passed. Value is passed. Here I have used the argument as X. The instance variable's name is R number. So both are different. Both are different. Here it is R number, here it is X. So I can assign R number equal to X. But in this program, they have used the private instance variable's name is A and function argument's name is also A. So here instead of X, if I have used the R number, int R number, I will be using R number equal to R number, isn't it? Variable name is R number. Private instance variable's name is also R number. R number equal to R number. So what will happen? This local variable, this is a local variable to this method. This local variable hides the scope of visibility of this global variable. Here in this method, it knows only about this variable. Okay. So the value will not be assigned to the instance variable. So in this case, when function arguments and global variables, instance variables are having the same name, to refer to the instance variable, global variable, we have to use this keyword. So this dot R number equal to this R number, value stored in this R number. So this dot R number refer to instance variable and simply R number refer to the local variable. Okay, that's what it is given. This dot A equal to A. To take the value from that variable, int get A, return A. Okay. So class XYZ, now subclass. ABC is the class, there is a private variable A. To set the value for that private variable, a setter method is written. To take out the value from A getter method is written. And class XYZ is a subclass of ABC. Class XYZ extends ABC. Int X comma S, it has its own variables, its own characteristics. A child, suppose there is a class called child and another class student. Student is a subclass of child. So all the qualities of child will be there in a student. Apart from that, student has his own characteristics. A student writes examination, gets the mark list, isn't it? So student has its own characteristics apart from the characteristics of the superclass. Likewise, ABC has some characteristics. XYZ is a subclass of ABC. So in XYZ, we get the qualities of ABC as well as it has its own unique characteristics which are X and S. Int X comma S. And in XYZ, there is a method void input. Input method is written. Through input method, we are passing a value P. So X equal to P. X equal to P. Here the variable X. X is a variable of which class? XYZ. That is assigned with the value of function argument. Int add. We did not set any value. Int add. Look at the add method. S equal to, S is a variable of XYZ itself. S equal to X plus get A. X plus get A. See, get A. Get A will get the value of A. Get A will return the value of A in this place. But there is no value set for A, isn't it? Did we set any value for A? No. So we have to set the value for A also. So in the input method, you add one more statement. If you want to run this program, add one more statement in the input method. We did not set the value for A. Without setting the value for A, we are asking to give the value of A, isn't it? So in the input method, input method, input into P, isn't it? In P. Into P. In this method, you set the value for A. Either pass the same value to A. So to set the value for A, what you can use, which method can be called? Directly you can call set A, and the same value I am passing, set A, P. And this particular class's X is also equal to P. Both are having the same value. Or you can pass any value. I am passing the same value, okay. Now we set the value for A of the superclass by calling set A method, okay. If you want to run the program, did you understand? Hello, Therese? Therese, are you there? Add one more statement before x equal to p. We have to set the value for that variable, isn't it? Then only we can ask the computer to return the value. So by calling the set A method, there is a method called the set A method. Set A and pass a value. Then only it will be perfect. Got the idea? Okay, so yes, Elvin, tell me.
In the main class, means base class, ABC. In that we are given set in bracket int.
Okay, so you can call that set A, no problem.
Not that. It is given that the result and 100 is given get A. So the one.
Okay, so Elvin, okay, listen. In class ABC, you compiled. Hello? You compiled the class. Okay, and you created an object of that class. Then you called set A method and you set the value for A.
Yes.
So in that case, after setting the value for A by using the parent class, you created the child class. And from the child class, you are calling get A method. Then no problem. Already you have set the value. What I am telling is, once you have compiled the class ABC you created and compiled and kept. You did not create any object. Manually you have to create an object and set the value, because set method is of what type? Instance method, not static method, isn't it? Non-static method.
Yes.
So you have to create an object and set the value if you want to give the value for A. Otherwise in the subclass you compile and keep ABC. You need not create an object. Okay. And then you create XYZ. XYZ is a subclass of ABC. In XYZ, through XYZ, in XYZ we are providing value to A. By accessing it directly, set A. Set A, here you give 5. So the value 5 will be set to that variable. Understood?
So we can access
Directly.
give the value to the class in the child class itself.
In the child class. In child class, all the variables and methods can be accessed. But A is private. If A was not private, A equal to 5 was possible. But A is private. So, what did we do? We called the method which is public to set the value for A. Set this value to A. So, the set A method is from where we called? It's a method of superclass.
Yes. Now
Okay. Without giving the value, we cannot say get A. Can we use? In the add method, we have written S equal to x plus get A. So when getA method is called, something should be returned, isn't it? Before trying to take the value, we have to set the value. For that only setter method is called in the child class. Now we are not bothered about base class. Somebody has written a base class and kept it ready for use for everybody, all others. Okay. We are least bothered about the base class, whether its object is created or not. We know that there is a method called setA method to set the value for the variable A. We can set our own value. Elvin is passing the value 5 to A, whereas Eileen may give the value 10 to A. Different users may give different values to the variable according to the need. Understood? Parent class you create once, compile, keep it ready for use, and access all its members, methods and variables directly in the child class. Okay. Now that explanation you please read. Another example given in the next page 500, page number 500. Class ABC, there are spelling mistakes also. Capitalization, automatic capitalization might have been typed in Microsoft Word or any text editor. So beginning of all the sentences are capitalized. Hello, did you get what I said? Tom, class ABC, beginning of the sentences are capitalized. Okay, while typing the program you should use small letter. In any text editor when you type, a sentence beginning capitalization, if that feature is turned on automatically, beginning of all the sentences will be capitalized. Okay, so when they typed the program, this feature might have been on. So class C is capital here, you have to convert it to small letter. Private A, P you have to make it to small. Class ABC, private A, void set A, void V is also again capital. This dot A, T is capital, that you have to change to small letter. Int get A, I should be changed to small letter. Okay. So class ABC, look at class ABC. Private variable, that's a private variable A. Set A method is written, it's a default accessibility. By using this you are setting value for the variable A. Get A method is written. In get A method, T equal to square. That variable T is not declared, you just declare it as int T or long T. Okay, variable declaration is not done. T equal to square. Square is another method which is written in the same class ABC. Okay, you called a method. To that method call, what will happen? The value calculated in the square method and will be returned through the return command. T equal to int T equal to square. So control goes from that statement to the square method. Square method is of what type of method it is? Private int square. There is a private method written, square. Okay. And this private method, what it does? That private variable A into A is calculated. The variable A can be accessed anywhere in the same class ABC. So the private method square can directly refer A into A is calculated. The calculated result is returned to the place T equal to square. Okay. So in T, A into A is calculated and stored. Return T. Whoever calls get A method, they will get the square of A. Wherever we call get A method, in that place we will get the value. The square of A will be returned to that place. Now XYZ extends ABC. Do you want me to write the program on the board? Anybody? Do anyone wants me to write the program on the board? Neil Paul? Neil Paul? Are you not there? Neil Paul is there. No response from Neil Paul. Neil Paul has gone to another window. Neil Paul, what are you browsing through? Are you watching some videos in YouTube? Are you watching film? Let me call your mother. Neil Paul. So if you move out.
I'm texting now. Busy.
Eh?
I was testing.
You were in some other window. So if you move from the window.
I was changing my audio settings. When I take the volume button also, it is showing there.
Okay. We'll be able to see whatever you do on your desktop, we will be able to see it here.
One time I was the host, so I can't understand.
Okay. So don't.
Okay.
So don't try to fool me. Okay.
Okay, I will join in this minute, okay?
So what I asked is, do you want me to write the program on the board and explain?
No, miss, you just say I can understand.
You can understand. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me continue. So.
Just 1 minute, come in a minute. I log in with my phone. I am just using my computer. Okay.
Okay. So shall I continue?
Yes.
Okay. Class XYZ extends B. XYZ is XYZ extends ABC. XYZ is a subclass of ABC. So, but XYZ has its own characteristics X. There is a method accept method into P. Through accept method we are setting the value of X. X is a member variable of XYZ of its own. Okay, it's not a character of ABC. X equal to P. Int add method again. S equal to X into X. Where did we get this X? From where? It is the characteristics of XYZ, the subclass. And get A. What get A method will return here? Get A method, what it will return here? Here also there is a problem. You have to create the class ABC, compile it and set the value for A. You have to invoke set A method. In the add or accept. Okay, in the accept method, you call that set A method. Without providing value, we are trying to access, isn't it? In the accept method, you provide one more statement in the accept method, void accept. The accept method set any value or this variable itself. Okay, let it be 5 itself. Set 5. Imagine that you have given set 5 in the accept method of XYZ. Okay, so 5 is set as the value of the variable A of parent class ABC. So in parent class the variable A has the value 5. Imagine that you pass the value for P as 2. P is 2. So X equal to 2. X equal to 2. When you call add method, S equal to 2 into 2. The value of X, 2 into 2, 4 plus get A. What get A method will return? It will return the square of A. A is 5. Square of A is 25. So 2 into 2 plus 25. 4 plus 25, 29 will be returned. Is it clear? Is there anybody who did not understand this? There is? Eileen? Eileen,
Yes, yes.
did you understand? We'll do one thing, we'll discuss a program. Here we will stop. Protected members we will discuss later on. What's the time? 3:30. 5 minutes. Let me take 10. I'll take only 10 more minutes. Okay. Maximum 10 more minutes to discuss one program to do. Page number 554. Sorry, 514.
Miss.
Yes.
Can you do one thing?
Yes, please.
Can I take this off for one question? From me, fixed your postfix. I have confusion.
Which one? I don't.
1 minute.
Prefix, postfix?
In fixed your postfix.
That you just message to me. I will explain you. Otherwise, I will call and explain you. Because I want to discuss one program
Okay.
on inheritance. Okay. So, solve the programs based on inheritance and polymorphism. Page number 514. 514, did you see the first program? These type of questions will be asked. Did you get? 514. A class student defines student related information such as name, roll number and date of birth, while another class marks. So there is a class called a student. In student, what do we have? Name, roll number and date of birth. Only 3 characteristics. Defines marks in, and there is a second class called as marks, which defines marks in various subjects. Marks in various subjects, total percentage and grade of the student. The details of both classes are given below. So there are 2 classes. 2 classes are there. Details of each class is given. What are the characteristics of each class and what are the member methods in each class should have, the specification is given. You are asked to define both classes. Okay. First class is class name student. Data members or instance variables are string name. That square bracket is not needed. String name, square bracket you cut. String name only. One square bracket is given. It's not a character array or string array. Just cut it. Okay. And date of birth. String name. Date of birth also a string only. Not string array. Okay. A single string variable. String name comma date of birth. They are used to store the name of a student and his date of birth. Roll number of the student. Member functions in the first class, student classes, input data. Through input data, we have to set the values for name of the student, date of birth and roll number. Okay. Void print data will just display student's name, roll number and date of birth. Now second class. So in the first class you should have only 2 member methods, 2 instance variables and 2 member methods. Instance variables are name of the student, roll number and date of birth. And member methods are input data to set the values for these variables by using scanner class, and print data just to display the student's details. Second class, class marks. This should be as a you have to define it as a subclass of student class, because we need the student's name, roll number and all in the marks class. Marks class has its own data members like physics, chemistry, maths, computer science, and E is for English. So to store the marks of 5 subjects, 5 integer variables, floating point variables are there. And to calculate total and percentage, two floating point variables. Grade also is calculated and stored as A, B, C and all according to the criteria. GD is the variable. So these many variables should be there in the child class. And there should be some methods also. Read data. Read data. Through read data method of the child class, you should be able to enter the marks of 5 subjects. By read data method only 5 subjects marks will be entered. Compute method will calculate the total percentage and average also. By using show data method, you have to display the name of the student, roll number, date of birth. Apart from that, these details are from the parent class. Apart from that, the calculated grade, percentage and also should be displayed. Okay. You are supposed to specify class student, giving the details of all the specifications, and marks class, use the concept of inheritance. Program is very easy, you will be able to understand it very easily. Let me go through it. Import java.util, because we have to enter the data. When you execute the program, different students' details should be able to entered into this program. You should be able to enter different students' details. So java.util class student. Specification, you see what are the characteristics, name and date of birth. String name, date of birth. Int r instead of roll number. In the question they have given roll number, but the variable used here is r. Don't worry, either you can make r to roll, or here in the question you have to change it to r. Okay. Int r for roll number. Same variable name you are supposed to use. In the question paper, whatever variable name is given, the same variable name you are supposed to use. Void input data. Input data is a method of student class. Student class has two methods, input data and print data. Input data uses scanner class object to accept the name and date of birth and roll number also. Those three variables of the student class is assigned with the values by using through scanner class object. Print data. Print data, what it does? It just displays the variables data, that name of the student, date of birth and roll number. Okay. So there ends the parent class definition. Parent class according to the specification you have defined. Now we need all these characteristics in the marks class also. So marks class marks extend student. It's an extension of student. So we don't have to set the values again, or we don't have to redefine all these characteristics. Its own variables int, p, c, m, c, t, s, e, total also. Is it integer? No, in the question it is specified as floating point variable. Okay, but here they have declared it as int. So you change it to float. Okay, float. Float percentage, character grade. Void read data. Read data is used for setting the value for physics, chemistry, maths and English. Physics, chemistry, maths, computer and English. Read data method. Okay. Compute method calculates the total by adding all these. Percentage is calculated. Grade is calculated according to the specification. I don't have to explain this, if else clause and all. Okay. So grade, compute method calculated grade. Read data method accepted value for marks class, the variables of maths class, and compute method calculated the grade. Now show data method. Look at show data method. We have to print the details of the student. Student name, roll number and roll should be displayed. Without printing the name of the student, even what grade we will display. So, but that details are, where are those details? Where are those details? Details are in Details are in student class, isn't it? Student class. So in the student class, void show data as the first statement to print the roll number and name of the student. Print data method is called. And system.out.println statement is used for printing the details of the characteristics of this particular class marks. So in this case, something is missing, isn't it? Here you create the class student, compile and keep it ready for use, okay? And then create the subclass marks. In the subclass marks, in read data, call that input data method of student class. In read data we are entering only marks of different subjects, isn't it? Otherwise, what you have to do? Create an object of student class, enter the value. After that, you create an object of marks class and call read data to provide the value for the remaining variables. Or do one thing, create the student class, compile and keep it ready. No need to create an object. In the child class, in the marks class, in read data method, call the input data. Call the input data method. Inside the read data method as the first statement, just invoke the input data method of the parent class. Input data. When input data method is called, all the commands of the input data method will be executed. That means it will ask you to enter the roll number name, roll number and date of birth. Then after this, following statements to enter marks of different subjects will be executed. After calling read data method, invoke or right click and select compute method, then select show data method. Okay. So what you have to do? Create the student class first, compile and keep it ready. And then create marks class. In the marks class, in read data method, you just call input data to enter the values for roll number and name, date of birth also. And then compile this class. After compilation, create an object of this child class, that is marks class object you have to create, call the read data, right click and select read data method, enter the value, right click and select a compute method to perform the calculation, and then right click and select show data method to display the calculated result on the screen. Okay, so this program you have to do today itself, and the topics which we have covered today you have to go through the theory part also. So we will be continuing with this lesson. All those programs will be discussed before your first term exam. If you have any doubt, you just call me. Personally, you call me. I'll explain you. Okay. And you are supposed to join for the meeting. There will be a meeting, parents meeting with your class teacher. So I think you have to join with the ID given for biology students. Thank you.